And I got a new sponsor. It's just water. Paul, did you hear that?
Yeah.
The fucking Will Smith's kid's going to sponsor my podcast.
Yeah.
Well, he's not doing it. His company is. But I'll get the paperwork next week, but I'm pretty pumped. I got a water sponsor. You don't like it?
No, I don't like the paper box water.
You don't like it?
No.
Why you shitting on my sponsor, man?
No, get out of here. Get some Aquafina.
No, fuck Aquafina. That's trash. Pepsi's trash. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into this week's episode, I am under attack, okay? It is 9/11. There's a lot of people out there gunning for me. So what you can do with this podcast, I'm going full-on podcast. I want to be undeniable with this podcast. Support the sponsors. Go to my Patreon, $3 a month. Sign up. And if you're already on Patreon, step it up because I am going full-on with this podcast because there's people out there from the left. They're gunning. They're trying to ruin my career. So I'm taking this podcast to the next level. I want to be undeniable. I'm fighting back people. I'm not going to take it. I'm raging against a machine. Go to patreon.com/sitdown Zumock. All right, Paul, kick it.
Bunch of bullshit. Bunch of bullshit.
Sit down, Zumock.
Hit me.
Sit down, Zumock.
Welcome to the Sit Down Zumock podcast, coming live and direct from Los Angeles, California, in full effect. And I'm excited about today's guest. He's a good friend of mine. Tell him who you are.
It is me, Brandt Tobler, live from LA.
And let's talk social media.
Yeah, you could find me, Brandt Tobler, everywhere. Just BrandtTobler. Tour dates are on at BrandtTobler.com. My podcast called The 31.
I've been on there.
Yes, Chad's been a guest. He's going to be on. I don't know when this is coming out, but you're going to be on again this week.
This was next Tuesday.
Yeah. So you're probably just my last guest.
Really? So I'm on this week?
You're on Thursday.
Oh, dope.
With like Glendon Rush from the Cubs, and I forget who else is on, but it's a good episode.
You got- oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So,
How do you know him?
Just from comedy.
You know everybody.
Yeah. So we're mixing it up. I'm with Chad. I'm going full out. I do quick question for you Monday, Thursday, where I interview all kinds of cool people. Tuesday is Dead to Us. That's me and my girlfriend. If you don't listen to it, you're dead to us. And on Wednesdays is Craigslist Chaos, where I just call people on Craigslist all over the country for an hour.
That's a hilarious
see
idea.
what kind of shit I get into. So when you're done listening to this podcast, come find mine. It's, like I said, it's under the 31, and it's anywhere you get podcasts.
Yeah, Stitcher, iTunes, Laughable app. Go check it out. Hit subscribe. It's free. Brandt does a great job. He's a great comic out of Denver, originally from Wyoming.
Yes, born and raised, and I'm the most famous Wyoming comic.
Yeah, who else?
I think that's it, really. I don't know. I don't know. There's hardly anybody famous at all from Wyoming, but comic-wise, I think there's a guy named Troy Baxley who is an older comic that now lives in Denver that people rave about, and so that's about it.
Harrison Ford was from Jackson Hole.
I think he just lives there.
Oh, he just lives there.
Yeah, there's a lot of celebrities that live up in Jackson Hole, but as far as from my hometown, there's a famous Chris Ledoux, a famous country singer. My favorite country band, Chancey Williams and the Younger Brothers, are from Wyoming. A couple basketball players, James Johnson for the Miami Heat.
James Johnson's from Wyoming?
Yes, sir.
Is he back in the league after he did the Big Three?
Yeah, he's on the Heat right now. Brandon Nimmo, center fielder for the Mets. That's about it. I think Matthew Fox, like an actor from Lost.
Yeah, I'm going through Wyoming's
Yeah, you're
notable
not-
alumni right now.
Was that University of Wyoming? You know who went there is Jerry Buss, the owner of the Lakers.
The logo?
No,
Well, no, I'm
that's
thinking
Jerry West.
Jerry West. Okay, yeah, Jerry Buss. He's dead, right?
Yeah, he's dead, but
Yeah.
he's the Laker owner. It's Theo Ratliff, if you remember old school basketball
course.
players.
Theo Ratliff.
Jay Novacek, old school Cowboys tight end. I think I made the top 50 by default.
Straight out of Wyoming, across a crazy motherfucker named Tobler.
That's it. It's crazy on those streets.
But seriously, hit subscribe on Brandt's podcast. He does a great job. He's a good friend of mine. And listen, if I don't have to sell you, we're gonna have a great podcast. He was a big Brody Stevens fan, much like
Yes.
myself. You got it.
You got it. Push and believe.
You know
Brody's
Brody, right?
Yeah, Brody's on the podcast. I had a long interview with Brody on there, and Brody. So I came across Brody. I started comedy in Vegas, and I was doing backyard shows. I started doing backyard shows because this shows how old I am. Stanhope posted something on MySpace
Yeah, I remember that.
that just said, "Hey, if you're a comic, you can't wait for the clubs. You got to do the shit yourself." So I said, okay, and I reached out to Stanhope, and I sent him a message, said, I read what you wrote. I'm going to do comedy shows in my backyard, and will you come? And he said yes. So then from that, my first show was Tig Notaro, Martha Kelly, Steve AJ came, and I had about 60 people. My second show was Brody Stevens and Morgan Murphy, about 80 people. Third show was Neil Hamburger, 100. Fourth show was Doug Benson, like 120.
That's all the old school UCB.
Fifth show was Doug Stanhope, sold out 300 people, got evicted the next week. Because it was a place I was renting. So at the time, I was working for a bunch of professional gamblers. So my job was to carry like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I would just run up and down the strip and bet on sports. So I was making a shit ton of money. So I just told these comics if they came, they got 100% of the door. I built a stage, got a bunch of chairs, got porta potties, and then I had the house I was living in had a huge deck, like a VIP deck that could hold like 100. So I could pack it in there. So people, for stand-up, people flew in from all over the country, and then I gave out $50 gift cards to the like closest 10 houses in my neighborhood.
So they'll shut the fuck up?
Yeah, but I didn't realize how many people 300 people are, and then and of course Stanhope came out and did like some crazy Hail Hitler chant, which was hilarious. But if you're at the show, and then like I said, a week later.
But if you're a casual guy in the neighborhood walking his dog and you hear Hail Hitler, you're like, oh.
Yeah, so we
might have to report this situation.
I probably overshot my wad there, just having that many people. But it was cool, and people were like, you're crazy to have people at your house. But honestly, the comedy fans were great. People would bring, because I would just get kegs and just say you could come drink. I just wanted the artist to make money, but people would bring me all kinds of gifts, and it was a cool way to start for sure. And then, but seeing Brody that first time, I didn't know.
By the way, he's on episode 17 of your podcast on the 31 if you want to go listen to it.
Yeah, it's a good one too. But yeah, so I was like Zach Galifianakis was my favorite comic. I didn't know anything about stand-up. Well, I knew it, but I was just too scared to do it. So I wanted to do stand-up for a while, but then the couple times I had talked into a microphone and heard my voice amplified, it would make my eyes water. So I was like, I can't be a fucking comic that just sits up there and cries.
Yeah.
So I chicken out. And then one time I didn't know who Zach was, and my boss made me come to – I worked for this old Jewish guy, like a 60-year-old Jewish dude, and he would take me to all this shit. He loved like punk rock and punk rock and wrestling. So I'd have to go to all these shows with him that would just be full of like 20-year-old kids, and I'd just look like his young boy toy. It was the weirdest shit ever.
Yeah.
But he was like, I'm coming to L.A. to go see Rep Miller was his band, and he's like, my favorite comedian is opening up for him. And I was like, this guy's he doesn't know shit about comedy, you know? And then I came, and I saw Zach, and he was incredible. And it was before Zach was famous, long before Hangover and everything. And I was just like, I'm going to go for it.
He was just an alt comic at that point.
But he just was so funny. And it was in the old Largo, so it was a small room, and he had his notepad, and he was just, his jokes were like, I just didn't know you could write jokes like that.
Yeah.
And he, because I didn't really like he was like my favorite. And then through him, I found Brody, and then I fell in love with Brody. But that was early Brody when he had all the pictures and everything. He would bring he brought like 50 laminated pictures to my backyard and just said, fuck the microphone, and just walked around and was like, this is Mark Grace, Chicago Cubs. You got it. First base,
Number 17.
Yeah. Then it would just be, so then seeing him, and Morgan Murphy was also super funny. And, as like shitty as this is to say, as a young comic, I didn't think women were like funny.
Yeah.
Just because where I'm from in Wyoming, first of all, no one's really funny, but like there was no funny girls really.
Yeah.
And then having Tig, and then having like Morgan Murphy and shit, I was like, oh, not only are they funny, they're like way funnier than me.
Yeah.
So that was good for me, because I was definitely starting as a douche, and just starting in Vegas. Vegas is a shitty place to start comedy.
Right. So going back to what you were saying, you were running money? What were you doing?
Yeah, so I got a job working for a bunch of professional gamblers. So
how do you fall into that?
it was just luck. I was I was going to a gym. When I moved to Vegas because my dad was in prison the whole time I was a kid. And
Oh, okay.
Then he got out of prison.
Way to bury the lead.
Yeah, and so I moved there to connect with my father. What
was he in prison for? Can I ask?
Like, yeah, of course, just like selling drugs and just getting in trouble.
Huh.
Mainly he was big selling coke and like moving shit across state
He's a hustler.
lines. Yeah. So then I dropped out so a little backstory. My dad, so he like disappeared I didn't see him from like 12 to 20. And then one day I got a letter from my dad. I was going to college in Phoenix. I got a letter from my dad saying he'd be at the airport. And I didn't know if I should go see him or not. And I went. And then my dad's like, I'm moving to Vegas. You can come whenever you want. And me and two of my buddies then, like 3 months later, drove to Vegas and stayed with my dad in a trailer. My dad lived in a trailer with a cocktail waitress. So
cocktail waitress?
Yeah, we at Arizona Charlie's, one of these shitty off-the-strip casinos. So we stayed with him for like 4 days. And we're just dumb little kids from Wyoming, so we didn't know anything about Vegas. Fell in love with Vegas. We immediately all went back, dropped out of college, moved to Vegas with the dream. We want to get jobs as pirates at the Treasure Island. I don't know if you remember, they used to have the pirate ships that would like fight.
Yeah, vaguely.
And we were like, this would be the greatest job in the world. You just jump off a pirate ship every hour and pretend like you're a pirate. So then we moved back, didn't get the job. So then I was going to college in Phoenix to play basketball. I was going to try and play basketball at a junior college. But then I just hated college. So then I moved to Vegas, and I started going to this gym because Vegas is so hot. There's only one gym on the side of town that I lived in, and I couldn't afford the gym. But somehow, miracle, I got a credit card in the mail for $5,000 limit. So I signed up for this gym, me and my friend, because it was like $150 a month gym.
Yeah.
Like this is like 20 years ago, before Equinox and all that. It was like for all like the rich people in Vegas. So then, long story short, I got a job there. Then I started playing basketball, and the older guys would come play at lunch. And then I was really good, so then I'd help them win. And then I established a relationship with this dude. And then I was like, what do you guys all do at lunch? And then one of them's like, one of the other guys was like, oh, these guys are all professional gamblers. So then I was like, oh, shit. So then I asked this dude, like, hey, tell me who to bet. And he would just always say no. And then over time, we became friends and more friends. And then eventually he was like, all right, man, I'll tell you. And he took me in this back hallway, and he told me, he's like, we're betting these 4 games. Don't tell anybody, it's a secret.
Like you were young Skywalker.
Yeah, so
I was teaching you the ways.
I ran home, told my dad as fast as I could. We pulled out all my money. We went and bet all 4 of these games.
Your dad was in too?
Yeah.
He's like, I love the hustle,
no,
kid.
He had no money. He got money from his cocktail waitress girlfriend, and it was like, because I was like, I got these secret games from a millionaire. This is like jackpot. So me and my dad are stupid.
Yeah.
So we went and bet the games, and then they all lost, and I lost all my money. I was trying to move back home to Wyoming, and then I went back to the gym, and then I saw that dude, and he was like, you bet those games that day? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I'm sorry. He's like, if it makes you feel any better, we lost like $800,000 that day. I was like, no, not at all.
No,
I had
still
like
not feeling better,
800,
dude.
I lost it all. And then he was like, you know what? Just come to lunch with me today. And then we went to lunch, and then we were sitting at lunch, and he was asking me all these questions. So they were like, they're Ohio guys, actually. They're all Ohio
that's
guys.
where I'm from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
like Dayton guys, and they were
Wait.
So they worked for they were connected to like the biggest gamblers. So anyway, they were sitting. So then I sat at a back table, and this dude just in hindsight kind of interviewed me. He's like, "What are you trying to do?" I was like, "You know what? I'm trying to save up $1,200. I'm gonna move back to Wyoming because I had a girlfriend at the time." And then he talked to me, and then over time, he's just like, "You know what? You work for me." I was like, "What?" He goes, "You work for me now." I didn't even know what that meant. And he's like, "You just go with Tony, and he'll teach you." And
You're like in the mob.
yeah. So they were guys that were like, they weren't full, but they knew guys. Like it wasn't.
They were feeling you out.
Yeah.
You were young Ray Liotta.
Which is crazy. So then I got hired, but my boss's partner was gone back home in Ohio, Kentucky, taking care of his mom when I got hired.
Yeah.
And then when he came back,
Who, Tony?
Yeah, no, Tony's the other guy. But he was like their right hand, their big muscle dude. But when he came back, he's like, "You just hired this fucking kid?" Then they thought I was an FBI plant. Because I was a broke-ass kid. There's no reason I should have been able to go to that
yeah,
gym.
you smell like a rat.
So then for like the first month, I had to spend a bunch of time with them. Which in hindsight, they were feeling me out. Then they realized I'm just a dumbass kid from Wyoming. But they definitely later, it's like then.
That's honestly, your backstory sounds so fishy. Just some dumb kid from Wyoming at a very expensive gym.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's going on? I want to play. I want to gamble too. He's like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. So then.
You could have got whacked.
Yeah. So then after that, then I worked for them, and then it was the best job. So I would carry like $100,000-$200,000 cash, and then I would run up and down the strip and bet whatever they told me to bet. So we had Nextels back then, like the beep beep ones. So then they were in an office betting offshore, and then they would tell me what they wanted me to bet. So I'd run up and down and bet, whatever they told me. So then there was other groups of professional gamblers out there. So there was other runners. So I had to beat the other runner. Because back then the internet wasn't as powerful as it is now. Well, there really wasn't any internet.
Yeah.
And then so like if Baker Mayfield got a DUI, we would know that maybe 10 minutes before the rest of the world.
Oh, by the way, it's coming.
Well, yeah, I don't
Baker
mean to,
Mayfield. I've lived in Cleveland.
I don't mean to jinx your Browns, but or let's say any athlete, whoever, Jared Goff or something. So then we'd run around and bet, or like when lines would move like that. When we got inside information, you would try to beat the other ones, and then so it was the best job because I love sports.
Yeah.
So I just run around and bet sports
With someone else's money.
Yeah, with someone else's money, which was even better.
So can I ask what your salary is in this situation?
Yeah, so I was on salary for like $1,000 a week, and then I got a percentage of what we won. Eventually, once I worked my way into like trust, and eventually they got a house for me to work. So they wanted to work out of a house. So then they got it, but they didn't want it to be under their name, which was crazy. So they had me get a house.
This sounds so sketchy.
Which is one of the craziest stories. And still, like when
And how old are you at the time?
I'm 22, 23.
Yeah, you need a house, dude.
But this is when I learned about how powerful money is. So they're like, hey, go rent this house. So I went to a place to rent a house, and then my dad was awful, and he stole my credit, so I had bad credit.
Oh, your dad stole your credit?
Yeah, so this is all. So my dad.
When did he steal it?
I got a little pass to tell that shit. But anyway, so then my dad stole $80,000 cash, and I tried to kill my dad because he stole their money when I was sleeping.
Okay, let's put a pin in that. We'll come back to you killing
so
your dad.
Anyway, so that part. So anyway, the job is.
You tried to kill your dad.
The job is going great, and everything's good. And then so I get a house. I moved me and my dad out of the trailer. I get a house. I moved my little brother down from Portland. My little brother's just like a little stoner dude.
Where's the cocktail waitress go?
She stays at her trailer, but it was close. And then, because she had kids, so we were piled in this cocktail wait. There was like, at times there were 7 or 8 of us living in a trailer. So then I come up on money, and I got money. So then I rent us a house, and I moved my little brother down. Then my little brother's working at a stuffed animal store in Caesar's Palace, and he's saving up money to go back to Portland and see his girlfriend graduate college. So anyway, my dad gets off parole. He gets back on drugs. My dad at the time is probably 45, 46. He starts hanging out with like little wigger kids, like 21, 22, wannabe gangster drug kids. That's the same age as me and my brother at the time. So I could feel like shit was going bad. And then sure enough, one day I came home. So on college football Saturdays, I'd have to work from like 8 in the morning till 8 at night. And then I'd go to bed, wake up, and do NFL on Sunday. So on this Saturday, I worked my ass off all day. I got home. I was exhausted. I went to bed. I'm asleep. My little brother comes home from work at like midnight. He wakes me up. He's like, Brandt, wake up. My little brother had saved up like $350 to fly to Portland, and it was gone. So I jump out of bed. I'm like, one of these little gangster kids stole my brother's money. So I run downstairs to find my dad to try to figure out what happened. When I get downstairs, my dad's nowhere to be found. And like my dad used to drive this shitty Camaro that he thought was so dope that always had to be parked in the garage.
Yeah.
So then I went in the garage. I saw the Camaro was gone. Then it hit me. Oh shit! I got all my money upstairs. Ran upstairs. My dad stole $80,000 cash from me.
What?
Yeah.
You had 80 grand? Where was it? Like a drawer?
Just hidden under my bed.
Yeah,
because you couldn't put it in banks and stuff because I had to use it for the next day.
Yeah.
So when I got done at night, I would do my figures. Then I'd put it in like a box or whatever. Then I'd put it under my bed. Then I wake up in the morning, reload the cargo shorts.
Your dad jacked you.
Jacked me. And what made me sad was that he.
Yeah, what made you sad in that situation?
But then
what was the thing that made you sad?
No, but what really got me is that I wasn't sad for me. I mean, I was in trouble. I was scared for what was going to happen.
Because you got
to
those
me.
dudes like, dude, where's our fucking money, man?
But what really made it the worst was that he stole $80,000 from millionaires. But then the fact that he had $80,000, then he still went and stole my little brother's $350 hard-earned dollars.
Yeah, let's get $350 more dollars on that.
So then in that moment, I was like, fuck it, we're gonna kill my dad. So we came up with a plan.
Who, you and your brother?
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
Oh my God!
So then my
You're
brother.
gonna kill your father.
So then my dad one time. So we used to sit on the back porch.
Because you can't call the police.
No, and then so my dad told me a story one time that he was cheating on my mom when I was a kid, and he got an STD, and they gave him penicillin, and he almost died. So I came up with this. My dad loved Jamba Juices, so I came up with this plan that we were going to get some Jamba Juice, get a Jamba Juice, put penicillin in it, and kill my dad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is before, like, Breaking Bad or Dexter. Like, I never killed anybody. So I call my cousin. So my cousin lives in Phoenix, and he's, like, a real gangster. He's a real dude.
Yeah.
And,
When do you call Jesse Pinkman?
yeah, so he's my Jesse Pinkman. So my cousin drives up, and I tell him this plan, and I'm like, you guys, get the penicillin and do it. And then I left. I was like, they're going to, so it doesn't look like it's me, I'm going to go to Denver where my girlfriend's at. To Estes Park is actually where I went. I was like, you guys handle this shit.
You don't want to be on site when you kill your dad.
Yeah, I want them to do it, which shows what a pussy I am in hindsight. But then,
I know you fucking pussy. Can't kill your dad.
So then they get the penicillin, get the Jamba Juice. They wait for my dad to come home. My dad comes home. They give him the Jamba Juice, but he doesn't drink it. Like, my dad was, like, in Leavenworth in, like, real prison, so he knows at this point. And he was, I'm sure, surprised my cousin was there, so he doesn't drink it.
So he's already fishy?
Yeah, so my cousin calls me back. He's like, he wouldn't drink it. And the plan was for them to give him the Jamba Juice, then just load up my brother's shit, go to Phoenix, and I'd be in Colorado. They'd find my dead dad in a few days, whatever.
Now, when you're going to Denver, are you having any remorse? Like, I'm about to kill my dad? That's kind of weird.
No, I couldn't. Because I still hadn't explained to my bosses that.
Yeah, you were just like, I'm scared for my own life.
Yeah, I was worried about trying to come up with the money. Because at that point, we still were hoping somehow we could get the money back.
So how do you kill your dad? And like how do you're gonna kill your dad and not get the money? Like,
well, we didn't know if he had the money. Really, it was like I said, it was a badass plan. We were just dumbass kids. You know, it was in the moment. I was just so mad.
like sweet, we killed him.
Yeah.
Now what do we do? Where's the money?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's the crazy part about it. So then they give him the Jamba Juice. He doesn't drink it. My cousin calls me up. He's like, he wouldn't drink it. I was like, you know what? This plan's fucking dumb. Just stick with what we're doing. You guys go to Phoenix. We're done with it. My cousin's like, nah, fuck, we do it my way. I was like, what? He goes, we do it my way now. I was like, what's that mean? He's like, we'll call you back. He hung up. I didn't know what they were going to do. So what they did was, like I said, my dad had this shitty-ass Camaro that he thought was so dope that always had to be parked in the garage. So what they did was they opened the garage door, then they cut the power and the phone lines, and then they just waited in the dark for my dad to come home. My dad came home just like they thought, parked his Camaro in the garage, hit the garage door opener to try to get it to close. Wouldn't close. He gets out of the car, manually goes and shuts the garage door. In that moment, my brother and cousin jump out with golf clubs, try to kill him in the garage with golf clubs. But what they didn't realize is how dark it would be. There was really no light in there, so they're swinging away, but not almost hitting each other and shit. So then my dad, the side of the garage, there was a door that led to the backyard, and at the bottom of that door was a little doggy door. And my dad saw the light from that coming in and just put his shoulder down, ran, bust through that door, fell into the backyard, jumped over the back wall onto the golf course, ran away, and then I've never seen him since.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy
So,
shit!
He's out there, so that's 18, 19 years ago.
What?
So yeah, so he
What?
yeah.
That
So
was the
then-
last you ever heard of your dad.
Yeah, so he's out there.
He's on the
somewhere.
lam.
Well, I thought he was in Vegas. And then
What's your
during
dad?
all
You
that,
probably don't want to give out your dad's name.
it doesn't matter. He's not anywhere on there. But
Is he on Facebook?
no. But then like during that,
Let's see if he's on MySpace. He might
yeah,
be safe.
he might be on there. So yeah, that was that. And then so yeah, I haven't spoken.
So you
to
never
him
got
in-
to kill your dad. That
no.
sucks.
So he's out there, and I hope someone kills him if you can kill him for me. So
Okay, what happens with this $80,000?
so then I got to go to my boss and tell him I'm short, and I looked
short.
Yeah, I'm a little short, and then and I loved my boss. He was like my hero. I think part of the thing that happened is my dad was jealous of my relationship with my boss, because like I said, once they thought I was FBI, I spent every night hanging out with them. Well, they were in hindsight feeling me out, but
And you became somewhat of a father
yeah.
figure.
And my dad was a baller as a kid. You know, when he'd come around, he had wads of money, and I thought that shit was cool. But then now he's out of prison. He was doing shit. He was living off his cocktail. He had no money.
Yeah.
You know, where this dude always had money.
Why do dudes get out of prison always have like a hot wife or something?
I don't know, man. So then I had to go to his house, and then I went to his house, and then he could tell something was wrong because he had 3 sons that were like my best buddies, and they were like 15, 13, and 11 probably at the time. And so my name was X. Everyone had code names, so I was X.
Why'd you have code names?
Well, just because everything we weren't doing wasn't exactly legal. So
Oh,
everybody just
I
had
see what you're saying.
gambling names. So I was X. Everybody, he was red. Everybody had different names. And
Yeah.
then I come in and
Guess like Ocean's 11.
yeah, and then he could tell something was wrong. I was like, hey, I need to talk to you. Because I couldn't go inside. I sat outside of my car trying to get the courage to come in. Because not only I'm $80,000 short, but this guy's my hero. He's changed my life. He's the one person in life I didn't want to disappoint. So
Yeah.
I finally got the courage to go inside, and then I went in, and then he could tell something was wrong. I was like, hey, I got to talk to you. And we went back to his office, and then as soon as he shut the doors, I just started bawling. I'm like, I'm so sorry. My dad stole your money, and we tried to kill my dad. Because, well, when I got the job, one of the first things he ever told to me, he was like, all you have at this job is your reputation. When
Right.
your reputation's gone, you're gone. So I was like, it's over for me. So I came
Dude,
in.
your life's a movie, by the
Yeah.
way.
So I start crying, and then he's like, what? I go, yeah, my dad stole the money. We tried to kill him. And he's like, yo, you can't be trying to kill your dad. You know, we're running a huge operation here.
Would you mind if I put some ambiance music on?
Yeah, you put whatever you want. Yeah, so then he's like, you can't be trying to kill people. And then he, so, so yeah, and that was it. And then, so my boss knew, my boss was like, he's like, I know you didn't do it. He trusts me, and he's just like, bad people do, desperate people.
So he knew. He probably could pick out
Well, they've been
liars.
through shit before that people, because they're rich and in a business where you can't tell, so people rob them, shit happens. So then, so yeah,
He's like, don't worry about it.
yeah. So he,
You're a good kid.
So then he took me in, and then fast forward, that's how. So then I didn't have anywhere to live, and then so I lived with him for like a month or two, and then he's
Do you
like,
think he killed your dad?
oh, no, I know, I wish, I
Oh.
wish. So then he. So then they wanted to get a house, and then that was the coolest. So then after that, my dad, then my dad steals my credit. I didn't know this till they're like,
Oh,
hey,
then he stole
so
your
after
credit.
that, so then, because my name is Brandt Tobler. My dad's David Tobler. So then they said, go rent a house. So I go to rent a house. When I get there, they're like, you don't have any credit. And I'm like,
This guy's a piece of
oh, shit. Yeah. So then I call my boss. I go, hey, they won't let me rent it. They won't let me rent the house because of whatever. And they're like, how much is the rent? And
Hey, by the way, there's 20 David Toblers on LinkedIn. You think he's on here?
yeah, I don't think he's had a job in his life. So then it was like,
You don't think he's the safety consultant and trained for self-employment? Okay,
No.
fair enough.
So then the apartment place is like, you can't rent it. You have bad credit. So I went out and I told him, I was like, hey, I got bad credit. They wouldn't let me rent it. And then my boss just said, hey, so he goes, how much is rent a month? I'm like, $3,000. He goes, all right, here's what I want you to do. Go back inside. If rent's $3,000 a month, tell him you'll bring him $40,000 cash tomorrow. Pay the rent for the whole year, pay the deposit, and $1,000 to whoever can just make this shit happen. So I go back in there. I go, hey, I know, like he said no, but I just have a different proposition. And I go, so they're like, hold on. They go back to the back room. About 20 minutes later, they come out and it's like, Mr. Tobler, you have a house.
Oh my God.
So then we lived in. That's how we worked out of that house for for a while. So, but that's how I knew how money was powerful, but I never even the thought like that. He was like, we'll just pay the whole rent up front, pay the deposit. Someone in there needs $1,000.
That's a
and
baller.
He was right. Yeah.
Power move.
So
So how much money did your dad steal credit-wise?
Oh, I don't know. I don't just whatever credit cards he could get. I still don't. I mean, I have awful credit now because, people are always like, well, why don't you do something about it? I can't. My dad will always know my social security number. My dad will always know my mother's maiden name.
Is he still taking shit from you?
Yeah, but I just don't really get shit anymore because then I made a bunch of money. Then I paid off all the shit he fucked up, and then he just did it again.
Can't you
So
go to the
then I had
police
all
and
the
find out where he's
evidence.
buying this shit?
I went to the police and I explained everything, showed him that. So this was about probably 18, 19 years ago. And so I took it all in, showed him everything, and then they're like, okay, we'll call you. And it's 2009, still haven't got a call from them.
Really?
I mean, they don't give a fuck, they have real shit. I mean, that was in Vegas.
Yeah.
If they searched every credit card, so I can't really change it. Like, I would change my name.
Can you change your social security number?
I don't know. You probably can, but I'm broke comics. I don't have money to be changing.
David Tobler sucks.
Yeah. So, like, my girlfriend now, and we talk about having kids, and her dad.
Yeah, like what if you do have a family?
We'll just get new names. We'll name our kid something different. Like, there'll never be another Tobler unless my brother has a kid. Because luckily my dad So they had 4 kids, and then my uncle only has a daughter who's awesome, and then my dad has me and my brother. But if we can kill the whole Tobler name, if we can,
You're gonna kill the name.
So if we can't kill him, we're gonna kill the name because there'll be no more Toblers out there. So me and my girlfriend, her dad was also in prison. She had a
Oh, you
bat
guys got something in
too.
common.
So that's how we connected. So we
Is that
we've decided how we're just gonna name our
is that what your guys' Bumble profile
yeah.
said? You're like, swipe right on this guy.
yeah, except her dad died of a meth overdose. She got luckier than I
That
did.
old story.
Yeah, my dad's still out there doing.
But
meth.
you're gonna kill the Tobler name, huh?
Yeah, so we're gonna kill it. So my buddy, oh, you never came to my place in Denver. So
I came to that one place where you were living by the Rocky Stadium.
Oh yeah, so you came to that
I
beautiful
spent the night.
loft.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my buddy let me live in this incredible loft for free for 2 years when I moved to Denver. It's like $1 million loft. He just let me live
Yeah,
there
it's
for free.
fucking awesome.
So then and that was on Blake Street. And then his name was Will, so we're going to name our kid William Blake. And our kid's going to start with Blake as a last name instead of Tobler.
Does he know that?
My kid?
No, they're your boy.
Oh, yeah, I told him I can't thank you enough for letting me live here. And I can't imagine, because that place would have rented for probably $3,000 or $4,000. It was across the street from Coors Field. I could hit
Yeah.
Coors Field with a baseball. So he probably let me live there for 2 years. I mean, he probably saved me $70,000, $80,000. Plus, I got to live in the coolest place in
Yeah.
the world. So I said, I can't. I said, maybe one day I could pay you back for what. He's never asked for $1. But I said, I don't know if I'll be able to pay you back monetarily for what you did, but we're going to name our kid after you.
Yeah.
Because that was our first date. That was the first time.
Yeah.
That place was special to me and her, too. So, and we just thought it was a cool name. So that's my way of saying thank you for.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You
so-
still friends with him?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I owe him for life. It was the nicest thing.
You still got that place?
No, he just sold it. So I moved out and moved in with my girlfriend. I've been living with my girlfriend for 2 months, and then he just sold the place. He just sold the place on November.
Probably save some cash.
November 15th is the closing day, probably today or tomorrow.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, so he sold it for a ton of money, and he's good.
That is a crazy story. That's like a movie. That's some.
Well, yeah. So I wrote a book. If you want to hear the whole story, that I just gave the shortest.
Oh, yeah, you have a book too.
Shortest abridged version, but I wrote a book called Free Roll, which I'm super proud of. There's no reason an idiot like me should ever wrote a book, but it's on Amazon. It's got like 123 5-star reviews. It's great. So if you're looking for a good stocking stuffer, a good book,
It's called Free Roll.
Yeah, Free Roll, and
You have antlers on.
yeah, there's way more to the story than I just gave the quick elevator pitch. But I've had people reach out to write a movie, but you know how that shit is. I get my hopes up.
Yeah.
People are like, "Hey, we have some of the rights for your book available?" And then then I don't know whatever happened. So I don't, I get an email about once every 6 months.
There's a
Someone-
photo of you and Jill Kimmel.
Yeah, I'm doing a show with Jill Kimmel tomorrow in Las Vegas for her birthday.
This was 1 week ago.
Oh yeah, I just did a show with Jill Kimmel in Vegas, and it was awesome. And Jimmy was there, and he said, "Man, I read your book," and he bought the rights to my book. And
Yeah, can't Jill Kimmel like say, "Hey, Jimmy"?
oh no, first of all, I never ask. She's
always
a very funny comedian on her own. She's got enough people asking her for shit. You should see her direct messages of just the absurd shit. Once people find out that she's Jimmy's little sister.
Yeah.
It'll just be like, "Hey, I got this band in New Jersey. Can you get them on your brother's show?" And she's like, she's patient about it, but sometimes it's just like
It's gotta
come
be
on.
annoying,
especially
yeah.
because she's trying to make her own career and she's worked her ass off to get everything. Because she was married, so she didn't go by Kimmel for the longest time. And I was like, Jill, because then she got divorced. Like, you should go by Kimmel. It's not like you're trying to climb the mountain.
No.
This is your brother. You should be proud of it. It's different if you marry into a name or
Yeah.
something. I was like, she was just always so worried that people would, she would get shit because she's Jimmy's sister, which still probably happens, which is inevitable. And people are always going to talk shit. She just, over, just busting her ass, realized, no matter how hard I work, no matter what I get, people are always going to say it's because of my brother. And then she just realized, well, fuck these people.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's great.
Like nobody knows this, but my last name's Chappelle.
Yeah.
And I just want to earn it
Well-
as Zumock. And I'm not trying to kill the name like Tobler
Well,
is.
yeah,
but-
don't kill Chappelle. We need Chappelle. Keep the Chappelles and Kimmels out there. And the Zumocks. I like Zumock.
One of my favorite things about you is we both have this affection, and it's not just me. and you, but it's Jim Florentine, and it's everybody. We love to sneak into places where we don't belong.
Yeah.
And you have so many great stories about that.
Yeah, it's like the closest thing I think to just the rush of it. Well, especially once you figure out, people are always like, are you worried about getting in trouble? There is no trouble, really.
No.
I hate to like go behind the magic curtain, but there's no trouble.
There's no arrest.
You're just gonna get kicked out.
Yeah,
but
get the fuck out of here.
But the cat and mouse of it, I just love. It's just fun to. I just really love it. It's like I don't do drugs or anything, so it's like my adrenaline rush of it. But yeah, I mean, I've got it mastered pretty. I'm pretty unstoppable. I've snuck into everything, national championship games, football, basketball. I snuck into Stanley Cup. Probably the most impressive thing I snuck into a Stanley Cup Game 1 in Vegas, I think 2 years ago when it was the height of Vegas craziness. But concerts, I mean, I think I could sneak into any. Once you figure out how to do it, like first of all, you just wear a laminate. Half of it, I wear this laminate of my buddy's band that just has Tim Allen on the front and it says All Access. But what I figured out, here's if you guys want the cheat code, here's how you do it. Here's how you sneak into any event you want. What you do is, well, I shouldn't say any event you want. You need an outdoor event. You need it where people can go outside and smoke.
Yeah.
So if Chad and I went to an event, and then I would say, Chad, go inside, grab another ticket, and then bring it out to me through smoking. And everyone knows that doesn't work anymore. Like there's no reentry is what everyone says, right? So what you do is you get that ticket. Then you can text yourself on your own phone, you just put in your own number and you text. So you change that to whatever. I would just put in Chad, let's say, right? So then I would text myself. I'd say, hey, man, it's Chad. Just so you know, you left your credit. I would look for whatever's the closest bar or restaurant to the venue that I'm at, right? So then I would text myself, hey, man, it's Chad. You left your credit card at the bar. So then I'd text myself back, oh, shit, I need that. Then I'd text myself back, okay, Michelle at the hostess stand will have it for you. Have a great time at the game. Go Broncos. Have fun. Kill it. Then I text myself back. I'll be right over there. So then I come back to the gate, and then when I get to the gate and they zap it, they go, hey, there's no reentry. I go, but your guy told me I could leave because I had to go get my credit card. I'm inside here. And they go, well, we can't let you back in. I said, get this. One of the supervisors said I could go. So then a supervisor would come over. And I'll say, I asked, and they said I could go. Then I show the text. I go, look, I needed my credit card. I go, you guys are a business, right?
Yeah.
Well, you want me to sit on my hands for 4 hours? I said, I want to buy drinks. I need to buy food. I promised my 2 nephews I'd buy them jerseys. I don't even have nephews. But I just tell them, I'm like, you guys, but that's what I always hit them with. I go, you guys are a business, right? You want to make money.
I want to give my dad $80,000.
Yeah,
He's in there.
And then they eventually are just like, okay, just don't fucking leave again. I go, I won't. Now I have money. I want to go buy shit, So that's works pretty much every time, because once you just use logic of like, I'm a patron in your business, I would assume you want me to spend money. And then they're just
no, we just create confusion. That's all you do is create confusion. Me and Florentina and I were at the Angels game probably a couple months ago in Anaheim, and his brother came down. And there was the VIP area where you can eat for free and drink for free. Yeah. And Jim's like, we're getting in there. And I go, I don't know if we can get in. He's like, no, we're going to get in there. And so we go up to the hostess stand. He goes, all right, just go up and ask her like where the restrooms are. And he goes, I'll just slide right in. I go, oh, okay, cool. And I go up and go, hey, where are the restrooms? And I go, hey, what time do you guys close? I'm doing all this stuff. And as I'm talking to this lady, he just slides right in. Yeah. And then he gets a band for me and slides it out for me. So we go in there, and next thing you know, we're eating for free. We're drinking for free. It's like a great...
It's easy. You can always outsmart them. Like I said, the laminate's the key. If you just wear a laminate, because let's say you work at like...
we got a surprise phone call.
Uh-oh. It's my dad?
Sorry, let's... Hey, Sam Tripoli, you're on the podcast with Brandt Tobler right now.
Sammy.
Oh, shit.
What's up, buddy?
Shit. So much podcasting. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
What's that?
What are we, three-weighing right now?
Yeah, it's just me, Brandt, and Paul. We're in the studio. He's telling us great stories. Did you ever hear the story about how he tried to kill his dad?
Yes, of course I've heard that story. I have no clue how he hasn't been put on trial.
Well, let's hope I hope the DA doesn't listen to this podcast.
That's unbelievable to me, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Unbelievable. Hey, Brent, I'll see you tonight,
yeah.
buddy. not going to be a huge crowd. It's like really weird, dude. I think it's going to be a good show. I don't know how packed it will be, but I'm excited to have you on it.
Well, yeah, thanks for putting me on, man. I appreciate it.
It'll be a good time.
Sam, since we have you here, let's talk real quick, and I'll let you go. But since Brandt and I are big Hoops fans, and so are you, what is your NBA outlook this season? I know you're a Clippers fan. What do you think's going to happen?
Dude, I'll tell you this: we haven't even had Paul George yet. We haven't even had Paul George. Look at that. We're murdering people. We don't have Paul George. All right. We haven't even had Paul George. That's all I got to say, dude.
Did you pick out? You know what you're gonna wear to the parade yet, or no?
Oh, dude, I'm already getting my gown and my high heels ready, dog.
So the Clippers all the way.
It's good. I just think, I think Milwaukee's missing a piece. I don't think they have enough. I think Philadelphia's, I think they're going to make a move to get more outside shooting. Detroit could be great, dude, but they got bad knees. I mean, it would be great if Blake and Derrick Rose could actually play. I think they do a lot of damage. I told everybody the Phoenix Suns were going to be good because for the first time ever, they have a legit point guard and a real coach. Earl Watson's Phoenix Suns is the worst live basketball team I've ever seen in the history of basketball. Okay? They're garbage. So I think they're good. I mean, it's very interesting. I think LeBron's interesting. Now, have you guys know why they're holding out Rajon Rondo, right? Because he owes money to some fucking bloods. He lost money he lost $5 million in a dice game, and he doesn't want to pay it. That's why they kept him out.
Really?
His story is worse than yours, Brandt.
No, I didn't know that story. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, dude. That's why he hasn't been playing. That's why they kept him away from the practice facility.
Holy shit.
How about that for an exclusive, Ryan Hollins? That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. So Denver's good. They got a lot of great pieces. They got 2 great pieces, 3 great pieces, but can they have it come together? They're great. Who else is up there? I mean,
Boston.
dude, this is the best NBA season ever. And we still don't even have Zion. Wait till he comes back. Nobody's talking about Zion, dude. When that guy comes back, dude, this is the best season ever for basketball. Ever. Because you don't know who's going to win it. I mean, I know who's going to win it, but you guys don't know.
So the Nets, they're done. Kyrie's cancer.
Kyrie's a cancer. Dude, Kyrie is, he's got Batman game but Robin mentality, and he's like the new Allen Iverson. He can get you a bunch of points, but no one else is scoring, and that's why you got to have one more guy on the team that's one more than him that can put him in his place. That's why he did well with LeBron, and that's why he shit the bed in Boston. And he's doesn't have Durant here to lead the way. So, dude, I don't know. I don't see how getting Kyrie is a better thing than having D'Angelo Russell on that particular team.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not a fan. I think they were a better team without Kyrie.
Here's the whole thing, dude. Golden State is garbage, and they're going to get that 7-footer out of Memphis, and then it's going to be over next year. Dude, this is like a perfect tank for them. It's perfect, man. They get the one thing they need, which was a down low banger. They get back Clay and Curry for next year. They keep D'Angelo Russell, and then they get this Wiseman kid out of Memphis. We're all fucked.
But this year the Clippers win. Your prediction? They're gonna win.
Dude, listen. I've watched Kawhi play twice now. I have never seen anything like it before. It's like the most surgical shit I've ever seen. There's no flash. There's no slick moves. There's nothing it's just surgical murder, dude. He moves so surgically, it looks like he moves slow. That's how great it is. I've never seen anything like that. The Clippers have never had anything like this before. Like, as great as Lob City was, we never had a closer like this. This guy can get a bucket. I don't care how many guys are on him. He can get a bucket. And we still don't have Paul George. Same thing. Who are you going to cover, dude? Who are you going to... When it's fucking tight time, who are you covering? Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Lou Williams? Who are you covering? It's going to be impossible. It's going to be nuts.
Rack that call. Sam, thanks for calling into the podcast. We'll see you soon.
Right,
See you tonight, buddy.
bye. See you, Brad.
Bye. Sam
Sam
Tripoli on
T.
the Lawson's Chip Dip hotline. I had to touch NBA real quick with him.
Shout out to Rondo playing tonight, but no biggie.
Wait, Rondo's playing tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, so his take was garbage?
Damn, I was so ready to Google that shit. That's what I'm here for. That's the ultimate.
They might have got to clear it up. He might have
Tinfoil.
paid the money for the game.
$5 million in a dice game to the
Yeah.
Bloods. That's
Hey.
a good podcast guest, right?
Yeah,
there. You
maybe
need to
you're-
get Rondo.
Yeah, maybe your dad's in that dice
Yeah,
game.
maybe. No, my dad ain't. He sucks at dice.
Where we at, Paul? Okay, so yeah, before we wrap it up, we got to talk about sneaking into shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak into the Clippers now.
Are you going to?
Well, that's the new goal if they're gonna win it all.
Yeah, you
I
got
bet Staples is easy too.
I got into an NBA Finals. I think I told it on my episode of the 31, the 1st one, but it was the NBA when you remember the Cavs first went to finals in 2007. They played the
Yeah.
Spurs and they got swept.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta go to the game. Tickets were ridiculous. LeBron, was his first time there. I was like, I can't afford this. I was like, I'm just gonna go up there and hang out, maybe walk around, maybe somebody will give me one. I don't know. I had no plan. And I'm standing outside the queue at the time, and I see my buddy who works for the WKYC affiliate, Channel 3. And he goes, Chad, what's up? I'm like, what's up? He goes, I'm covering the game. And I'm talking, we're walking, and he got the camera guy with him. I was like, oh, that's great. What do you think we're going to win? He goes, I don't know. It's going to be tough, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and I notice we're getting closer and closer to the media entrance. And I just says, I'm just going for it. In my back of my mind, I'm making small talk. We walk in, and all of a sudden, we go through the metal detector, and everyone's looking at me. I'm like, and Dave's like, hey, Steve, and Tom, hey, what's going on? I'm like, hey, guys, what's going on? And next thing you know, I'm at the NBA Finals on the floor. I just walked right in.
That's perfect.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, half of it's just going for it. I wear a laminate, and then just once I approach, just have up on my phone up like I'm talking to somebody. But you got to remember, like, if you work at the Staples Center, they have different laminates every night. If tonight it's the Lakers, that's a laminate. Then it's the hockey, Kings is a different one. So if you have a laminate, then it bands. The people are just so trained to look for that laminate.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to fuck with somebody that has it. But the one I'm waiting to do, my buddy says if you just get 2 bags of ice and you put them on your shoulders and then just walk through, no one will stop you. Like, that's for bands. If you want to go, like, backstage to a band.
Really?
So you just put the ice up on each shoulder, so then your hands are, like, taken, and you just walk. Because no one's going to think that you're just carrying ice for no reason, No
So
one
you
carries,
walk into the venue with ice?
If you just it's like a $2 investment. You put ice on each shoulder, and then you're carrying it, and you walk right
Do you just say
through.
coming through?
Yeah, and then you just go, oh, they told me to take it to the dressing room or the locker room or the green room. And
Do you have a laminate on or just the ice?
I haven't done it yet, but I would have a laminate on is always good. I mean, I'm working on these laminates for my merch that I'll just sell and just tell people, trust me, this is better than a shirt or a koozie or some shit. Just because I wear laminate a lot, just because nobody fucks with you if you have it. People are trained to
So
think
the key's
that,
to have a laminate
yeah,
on.
just always get a laminate. And it doesn't matter what laminate it is. But I'll be selling some soon I'm trying to get them designed so the bottom will say all access, but the middle will be like a
That's genius
like
merch.
like a chalkboard thing. So then you could write whatever date it is or whatever it's for. So let's say if the Clippers are playing the Mavs, today you'd write, 11, 12 Mavs on it. So then it shows that, and then it says all access. But I shouldn't be giving it all away because I want people to buy it, but then give them like a secret video because I don't want it out there what they are. But like I said, the laminate I use just says all access on the bottom and in bright red. So a lot of times I just hold the top of it where you can just see the all access. And then if you just show it like you're flashing, I'll just go show it, go, these guys are with me, and then just keep walking. And, most of the time, these people make $8 an hour, so they don't give a fuck about it. They
What
shouldn't
about
care
having a
their job.
clipboard? Like a clipboard.
Clipboard's not bad. I've heard people use a ladder or like, I don't
Carrying
want
a ladder in would be
see,
awesome.
I think the ice is the best part because you get in and then there might be somewhere you to actually put a cooler or something. If you just keep walking, they'll direct you to somewhere ice goes, and then once you just dump it in there, you're already inside. Or you can just take it in the bathroom, throw it in the trash, come around a corner and just go, oh, they don't need this ice, and just dump it.
Well, I've told the story many times, and I'll just do a quick version of it because it's out there if you want to find it. I snuck into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony the year they inducted the Beastie Boys, the Chili Peppers,
shit.
and it was me and Florentine, and we snuck in. And the reason why we got in, we were like up high in the nosebleeds. But at the time, I was on the radio in Cleveland. He was on VH1's That Metal Show. So every entrance we went to, they either knew me or him.
Yeah.
So eventually, we just got in. They just assumed we were supposed to be there, and we were backstage. It was the most amazing thing ever. But I also realized, listen, if this doesn't work ever again, I saw all the catering people. They were like pulling pizzas.
Yeah.
Just get a pizza outfit and get a couple, like maybe a couple things of pizza.
I mean, if you got balls to go for it, first of all, you can Google. I've done shit like this too. Like one time, it's a long, boring story, but this guy was going to try to kick me out of this comedy festival because he's a douche. But I just Googled who owned the hotel, and then I just put that in my phone, and then you can, like I said, texting yourself is great because people will read those texts like they're real. It's like, this is the owner of the fucking hotel right here, and I showed it, and they see that you have their name at the top of the text.
Yeah.
Which anyone could do. I could put LeBron in my phone right now, but people don't think in the moment that you're that smart to do that. So you just, in your iPhone, whatever you have, you just make your name, whatever you want it to be, text yourself. It'll come in twice, then you hit like the button on the left to delete one. But then they try to come sweat me with all these police and shit. I go, look, my aunt is best friends with, whoever the owner of this hotel was. And it was just like, I just talked to Michelle, the owner. She said, if you have any problems, call this number. Just write bullshit.
Oh, my
It's just
God.
bluffing. But what you got to remember is, like, there's no real risk reward. As long as you don't. I used to carry a badge, and then that went bad because I got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
You can't say.
Just keep it legal.
Yeah, but you could say you're the manager's nephew, or you can say you're the cousin of the owner, or because you can always just go. I can say anybody. I could say Jeannie Buss said I could come to a game because I was sitting at an airport bar one time and we talked for like an hour, and she said, if there's any problem, who's going to what are they going to do? Go get Jeannie Buss and take her to the front gate of like, so you just go for it and just realize that's what my book's called, Free Roll. It's just a free roll. It's just a free shot.
Oh, you got another book called Free Roll. Oh, that was the
Free
other
Roll.
one.
That's my main book.
What was the other one? You couldn't or you wouldn't?
So the new book that's almost done is called You Couldn't and You Wouldn't, and it's 10 girls that I've had sex with that most dudes couldn't, and 10 girls I've had sex with that most dudes wouldn't. So it's full of crazy sex stories. But it's like that Tucker Max wrote a book and it got famous, but I think his shit was like bullshit.
Yeah.
Where mine,
I met the dude. He's whack.
Some of my stories are unbelievable on the good side, but then I also tell the bad, like they're unbelievable on the bad side too. So this dude can do good shit, but he can also do. I didn't want to write because I'm not super good looking or anything.
Yeah.
Like I give tips in there on how to get laid. It's not hard. Like I should have never done as good as I've done, but I should also have not done some of the shit I've done. So I'm finishing that book up right now, trying to figure it out. So hopefully it'll be out, probably March of next year. So
Man, you're an interesting dude,
thanks,
man.
I hide it. I keep it chill.
You're a good comic too.
Thanks, man.
If we got an album out there too.
Yeah, I got 2 albums on Spotify and all that shit, iTunes, all that.
Listen, are you on Pandora too?
Pandora, yeah. And if you like the podcast, I did the Audible of my book.
Oh,
so it's me talking, and I did something no one else I've never seen anyone else do it. I do the outtakes at the end because doing your own Audible book's the hardest shit I've ever done.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that did it. and
But if you need 5-6 hours of
that's discipline.
of time, it's better than a podcast. There's no ads or anything. It's just me telling these fucking incredible stories.
This is what you do. If you have Pandora, Spotify, you make a playlist with Brandt, you make it with me, and add all our stuff to your playlist and just play it over and over and over. Because again, I'm under attack. So every time you play my album, anytime you stream it, that money comes to me, okay? And I can't rely on these corporations. I can't rely on these businesses. I can't rely on the gatekeepers. I got to do it myself. Brandt's got to do it himself. So get his book. What was the first one called again?
Get a book called Free Roll. Get that one to start. The new one will be out later. And subscribe to my podcast because then I'll announce when the book comes out for sure.
People, it's straight to the consumer. It's me to you. There's no middleman. It's like this is how we do it from here on out. That's how we're going to have to do it. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Follow Brandt on all social media. Subscribe to his podcast. And both podcasts, if you could leave 5 stars and a
Yes.
review on iTunes, it's an
Please.
easy thing to do. Follow the Comedy Pop-Up Network on Twitter and Instagram. What's the YouTube channel, Paul?
Yeah, it's at CPU Podcast Network or youtube.com/CPU Podcast Network.
Yeah, and you can watch. If you didn't like hearing me and Brandt talk, you can watch us talk. And what, Paul? You got any gigs that's not going to happen?
Yeah. Hey, my podcast is out finally.
Is
So-
it?
Yeah, it is.
What is it?
It actually happened. So listen to the Paul Antonio Show. I got Lee Syatt from the Church of What's Happening with Joey Diaz. He's
Oh,
gonna be on
okay,
my-
that's his producer, right?
He's gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
See, we're making a producer cast kind of, but he's just a guest on it. But yeah, check that out and follow me at the Paul Antonio. You'll see all my dates.
Yeah, just hit subscribe, guys. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap.
Yep.